7-year-old boy is being called a hero after alerting his elderly neighbors of a fire next door. An update to a cybersecurity breach impacting Kinsman Foundation donors. And could Saskatoon see a sanctioned tent city?
This is CTV News with Chantel Saunders.
Good evening. We begin tonight with a 7-year-old boy being recognized for his bravery after warning his neighbors about a fire. As CTV's Stacey Hine tells us, thanks to the boy's quick thinking, a woman and her 91-year-old mother were able to get out safely.
Jace was playing in his front yard when he saw flames at the house next door. The 7-year-old got someone to call 911, then ran 2 houses down to warn his neighbor, Connie Seibel, about the fire.
And me and my brother shot it together, and I went and told the lady.
Why'd you go and tell the lady?
Because it's a big fire.
The fire, which is still under investigation, broke out around 7 p.m. July 29th in Saskatoon's Mayfair neighborhood. Seibel says she was surprised to hear a knock at her door that night. It was Jace there to warn her about the fire.
He said, "There's a fire next door." And I said, "What?" And he just said, "There's a fire next door." So I went out and I looked and I went, "Oh yeah, there's a fire next door."
She says the house on fire next door was vacant, but the flames eventually spread to her home. Thanks to Jace's quick thinking, Seibel and her 91-year-old mother, who has limited mobility, were able to get to safety.
It's amazing what kids have learned or will learn or have been taught, and how automatic that they kick into action when they have to.
Others in the neighborhood were also impressed by Jace's actions.
It's just great to hear that kids are still willing to go out of their way to make sure people are safe. It's always good to know that there's still a Spider-Man looking out for the community, right?
As his neighbors recognize his bravery, Jace says he feels good knowing he was able to help. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
And Connie Seibel says she was in between insurance companies and does not have coverage for the fire damage. A GoFundMe page has been started to help cover some of the costs. Saskatoon police are investigating the city's 9th homicide this year after a man was found dead in an apartment earlier this week. Police responded to a welfare check around 7:30 Tuesday morning in the 2300 block of 17th Street West. A 27-year-old man was found dead. An autopsy confirmed it was a homicide. The Major Crimes Unit is now investigating. Anyone with information is asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers. As Canada looks for stable, reliable sources of energy, demand for nuclear power continues to grow, and a new Saskatchewan mine has the potential to fuel that demand. Alison Bamford is in northern Saskatchewan, where construction has begun on what could become one of the world's largest uranium mines.
I'm standing at what they call the heart of the operation. This is where the production shaft will be built, and once operational, could move 30 million pounds of uranium ore up from the ground every year. And it's where Next Gen Energy officially broke ground on its Rook 1 project today. Officials calling it a major step in bringing what could be one of the world's largest uranium mines online, helping secure a clean, low-cost fuel source for nuclear energy. Construction here comes at a time when global demand for nuclear energy ramps up. Ottawa has big aspirations of expanding domestic generation and global exports. Canada is already the second largest uranium producer in the world. Currently, all of the country's uranium is mined from this region, the Athabasca Basin in northern Saskatchewan, and officials say this new mine will add to the global fuel supply.
This is Saskatchewan, part of Saskatchewan's contribution to Canada becoming an energy superpower. Saskatchewan, today is about 20% of global supply of the fuel for that clean nuclear power globally. And it's projects like this that are going to increase Saskatchewan's global presence in that space and going to increase the global presence and opportunity for those that live in northern Saskatchewan as well.
The process of developing a new mine takes time. Exploration at this site started in 2013. Final approvals for construction happened in March, and just now they're breaking ground. Construction is expected to last over the next 4 years, and operations are slated to begin in late 2030. Allison Bamford, CTV News, Patterson Lake, Saskatchewan.
All right, Jeff, I'm getting a little worried about summer not. I know it's not fall, but it feels like it'll.
It's been on the cool side, and you are expressing a sentiment that I've heard from many people, many people. But the good news is some warmer than seasonal temperatures are in the forecast. So hopefully we'll break out of this cool doldrums. I'm mixing my metaphors, maybe, or my turns of phrases there, but. In the immediate future, we're dealing with rain, moving in from Alberta, and a couple of different systems. One moving into the southeastern part of the province, then another one is going to be making its way into Saskatchewan, moving up through central and northern areas. How much rain is going to fall is still a bit of a coin flip, but we'll talk about those coins later on.
A data breach at one of the province's most beloved charities is worse than initially expected. Keenan Sorokhan has more on the impact on donors.
Telemiracle is one of the most iconic events in Saskatchewan, raising millions of dollars for medical equipment, travel, and patient care every year. But a cybersecurity breach in April meant hackers gained access to the personal information of donors.
A lot of this will end up on the dark net, the dark web, and it can be used by bad actors to gain money in some way.
The breach is worse than Kinsman initially realized. On Wednesday, the Kinsman Foundation said it completed its investigation into the third party that accessed its systems, adding, "We now know that for an additional group of individuals, social insurance numbers and health information that were required to process grant applications were also affected." IT expert Gareth McKee helps train and protect companies from breaches like this, and has even brokered deals with ransomware hackers. He says the most likely way these things happen is an employee clicking on a link they shouldn't have.
And then accidentally downloaded something. That's where the main danger is.
He says more often these bad actors are avoiding large companies with millions of dollars spent on cybersecurity and going after charities like the Kinsman Foundation, who may have had vulnerabilities.
An organization of any size, whether it's a one-person company or it's 200 people, should be getting specialist advice.
Kinsman says it is sorry and is personally contacting everyone affected by this. Kinsman is working with TransUnion Canada to offer 1 year of complimentary credit monitoring.
Closing the gate after the horse is bolted. There's not a lot that these organizations can do once the data's out there.
Kinsman says it is reviewing and strengthening its security systems to help prevent something like this from happening again. Keenan Sorokhan, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatoon police were called to a crash involving 3 vehicles. Here's a look at the scene. It happened this afternoon. Traffic restrictions were put in place around the intersection of the crash at 7th Street East and Preston Avenue South. One man was taken to hospital by paramedics for treatment of what are believed to be non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the crash has yet to be released by police. A Moose Jaw restaurant is facing major fines after it forced a foreign worker to pay a fee for their job. Guac Mexi Grill in Moose Jaw pleaded guilty to 1 count of charging a foreign worker a fee or expense for employment. It's a result of an investigation into allegations a worker was required to pay $12,000 to keep his job, with their continued employment being a condition of their pathway to permanent residence. As a result, the restaurant is facing a $5,000 fine, a $2,000 victim surcharge, plus were ordered to repay the victim the $12,000. While Regina is taking a different approach to encampments this summer, allowing people to stay in a city park, people living outside in Saskatoon are wondering if they could see the same kind of approach here. As Carla Shinkrook reports, encampments are dismantled regularly.
Along 20th Street between Avenue L and M in Saskatoon, dozens of shelters have been set up, including one belonging to Alberta Nelson.
It's a stressful. It's stressing. It's it's put a lot of. I don't think more about housing. I think more where I'm going to go.
Nelson is aware of developments in Regina where the city has provided porta potties for people living at Pepsi Park in the Heritage neighborhood.
That's all we want is the basics. That's it. What's wrong with that? Why kick us out? We got no place to go.
This sign nearby asking them to vacate, something Nelson says occurs about once a week. Regina officials have also said they're not planning to tear down the tents in their park. Cassandra, who did not want to be identified, says Regina has the right idea.
Saskatoon should do the same. Every other major city has what they call a tent city, and I think that they should do the same here. Like the shelters fill up really quick and we've got nowhere to go.
When asked whether this is a possibility in Saskatoon, Mayor Cynthia Block said this.
The data is quite convincing that we should be very careful about allowing that type of way for people to live in our city if we know that it's going to cause harm.
Tents are often set up near the Central Urban Métis Federation building on Avenue M. The president understands the concerns as they dealt with increased drug dealing last summer.
You saw 70 to 100 tents all around Comfy. We experienced a lot of violence that we never had the year before.
She says this year is better than last, thanks to increased supports. They provide showers, food, and health care or addictions help. Back at the encampment, Nelson plans to start a petition calling on the city to allow tents to stay up. A difficult task, but the plan is to use resources at the library to get started. Carla Shinkaruk, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A house fire in Fort Capel has left 3 families impacted, and now the community is banding together in an effort to help them get back on their feet. This was the scene Tuesday night at around 6 o'clock. Crews from the Fort Capel Fire Department responded to a call about a fire on Pasqua Avenue South. By the time firefighters arrived on scene, neighbors were already lending a hand. Some residents say they're happy to see others stepping up.
I feel very grateful also to be in this community, to see that, knowing that if something was to happen to anyone else, that there's people here that actually step up and make a difference.
The fire's cause is under investigation. In the meantime, people are doing their part supporting the families impacted through online fundraisers. Sales of U.S. alcohol products have declined significantly in Saskatchewan. It's been 1 year since the province returned American liquor to stores. However, consumers have decided to look for other alternatives as the American tariff dispute continues. Wayne Mantika has that story.
The Saskatchewan government may have decided to return American alcohol to store shelves, but consumers are making their own decisions. The SLGA reports that sales of U.S. wines and spirits declined by 40% in the last fiscal year. Still, retailers defend giving consumers a choice.
It's worked out pretty well. We really want to make sure that the customer has the option to purchase American liquor if they want. We have had the wine section decreased quite a bit. There's been a lack of demand for the U.S. wines, especially the California wines, and we've expanded the Canadian wines as a result.
Declining sales of U.S. wine has prompted the co-op to reduce shelf space and allocate more for Canadian product. However, demand for American bourbon remains strong because there are few alternatives.
So we had a few occasions of customers coming in and buying a full case of Jack Daniels or Jim Beam. Those are the more popular ones. So yeah, that was a strong sign for us that the product is still in demand. So we need to keep stocking them.
In a written statement, the Saskatchewan government said it is up to consumers to determine if they want to purchase U.S.-produced alcohol. Keeping American liquor on the shelves has not won Saskatchewan any favors when it comes to Trump tariffs. Tariffs are imposed on the nation as a whole, but it could count for something when Saskatchewan producers go looking for new American customers. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Small businesses are facing uncertainty as the wave of this trade dispute with the U.S. continues. According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, 2 of every 5 of its members say they will be directly impacted should the threatened 50% tariff increase follow through next week. The organization says up to 75% of small business owners are preparing to have revenues impacted should the tariffs go into effect.
There's many Saskatchewan businesses who've had to make tough decisions where they can. They've pivoted to alternative markets outside of the U.S. or looked to domestic partnerships within Canada. But it's been difficult. And, many have had to simply absorb the cost of these tariffs, or they risk losing their trade deals with their U.S. partners. So they don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Solberg is hopeful Ottawa is able to find at least an interim deal with Washington to ease the pressures on small businesses. New data highlights how deadly e-scooters and e-bikes can be for children. The Canadian Pediatric Surveillance Program says 10 children died while using the devices last year. 12 more kids were admitted to intensive care units, while 26 were treated in hospital for more than 2 days. The data was released in an annual report, emphasizing the need for better policy coordination and public education. Cool weather last week meant slower harvesting for some Saskatchewan farmers, but decent crop quality in regions that had been too hot and dry. In the latest crop report, expected rain will help topsoil moisture, which is 48% adequate and 43% short. Harvesting progress is furthest along, with winter cereals at 18% and fall rye at 27%. The Ministry of Agriculture says the provincial harvest progress is 2% complete. The NDP opposition held an open house in Moose Jaw about a proposed AI data center. It says the people attending want more transparency about the project. The government says speculation about projects that do not exist is neither productive nor informative.
The NDP returned to the Legislative Building following a Moose Jaw Town Hall meeting about a proposed AI data center.
The people in Moose Jaw were loud and clear, and I hope Megan Patterson and Tim McLeod are willing to meet with them, talk to them, remember who they serve, and provide them some basic information.
The proposed $485 million AI data center would be built on the grounds of the former Valley View Center. Over 6,000 people have signed an online petition opposing the project because of its close proximity to a nature refuge.
People want answers. They deserve transparency from the government. So we're going to continue to ask questions, and hopefully this government will finally respond.
The provincial government has stated that it will not supply electricity to the data center, effectively killing the proposal in its current form. In a written statement, the province said the government has already confirmed that the proposed AI data center is not proceeding. There is no application before government, no approval being considered, and therefore no information to provide. The provincial government has not said that there can never be a data center in Moose Jaw. It could be built in a different location. The NDP would be open to considering that, provided there was consultation and community support. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Well, it's a good day to eat some ice cream. Today is Dairy Queen Miracle Treat Day. 100% of the net proceeds from every Blizzard sold in Saskatchewan is going to the Jim Pattison Children's Hospital Foundation. This is the 24th year of the annual fundraiser. It supports research and pediatric equipment. Last Miracle Treat Day, $282,000 was raised in the province, directly supporting the 83,000 kids and moms-to-be who visit our children's hospital. Still to come on CTV News, how an MP is addressing concerns about the effects from the COVID vaccine, and a woman gives birth in Florida after left stranded by the WestJet flight attendant strike. You're watching CTV News live from downtown Saskatoon. Thanks for staying with us. Well, years after the COVID-19 pandemic, a small number of Canadians who rolled up their sleeves are still suffering from adverse effects. And now one Conservative MP is striking an informal inquiry on Parliament Hill to hear their stories. But as CTV's Rachel Aiello reports, there are concerns this forum won't be able to provide the kind of accountability some are hoping for.
like millions of other Canadians, Carrie Sakamoto got vaccinated for COVID-19. But unlike most, after her second shot, she was hospitalized, diagnosed with Bell's palsy, suffering ever since.
I'm not anti-vaccine. I have questions about this one, obviously, because of my experience.
Now she's hoping one MP's unofficial fall inquiry will give her a place to put her story on record.
Our job is to listen.
Conservative Dean Allison is planning to lead 4 days of sworn testimony focused on COVID-19 vaccine injuries. But his initiative isn't sanctioned by the federal government and has no power to prompt accountability. The most this MP is able to offer is that once the hearings end, he may refer questions for Parliament's consideration.
By raising awareness, we're hoping to put pressure on the government.
81% of Canadians have received at least one dose of an authorized COVID-19 vaccine. And as of January 2024, of the more than 58,000 reports of adverse events following these vaccinations, less than 12,000 were considered serious, representing 0.01% of all doses administered.
When you look at the vaccination currently, based on the best data we have, the vaccination still does a reasonable job in reducing the risk of hospitalization and death.
During the pandemic, Ottawa launched a vaccine injury support program. Between 2021 and 2025, 252 claims were approved, paying out more than $21 million in compensation. But claimants like Carrie say the process was mismanaged and mired in red tape.
We need immediate accountability and reform.
After an audit this spring, the Public Health Agency overhauled the program and is still sorting through a backlog of claims. This doctor says a vaccine injury compensation process Canadians can have confidence in is key.
I would call it part of our social contract.
Canada hasn't conducted any formal review of how COVID-19 was handled nationally. This country's chief science advisor and others think the government should reflect on its pandemic response in an evidence-informed way.
We're seeing vaccination hesitancy rise absolutely everywhere.
But Allison isn't planning to include testimony from pro-vaccine voices, prompting critics to question the inquiry's intent.
Anybody who believes they've been affected by taking a vaccine deserves to be heard and deserves compassion and support. The problems with what Mr. Allison is putting forward is that it's based on the premise of an official inquiry, but it's not.
The hearings are happening on the Hill September 8th to 11th. MPs from all parties have been invited to sit in, but so far the inquiry only has the support of Conservatives. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
A woman from Winnipeg who was 7 months pregnant while on vacation in Jamaica recently gave birth in Florida. As CTV's Alex Carpo reports, she was unable to return home after being caught up in the WestJet flight attendant strike.
Julia Henry and her husband Jordan were supposed to leave Jamaica on Monday, August 3rd, when WestJet flight attendants walked off the job.
What they were offering us was either, I believe it was Friday, and we wouldn't get back to Winnipeg till almost Sunday, and then another flight was we wouldn't get home till Tuesday, the following Tuesday.
Henry was 31 weeks pregnant. After going back and forth with WestJet, she says she was told they couldn't get on an earlier flight. The couple then spent more than $4,500 booking their own flights, flying to Fort Lauderdale on August 6th with a connection to Winnipeg 2 days later, but they never made it home.
I myself was in a lot of pain, and really I needed to see a doctor. I needed to go to a hospital because it was just not getting better.
Henry went to the hospital around 5 p.m. and just a few hours later, her daughter was born, nearly 2 months premature.
It just escalated from one thing to the next.
Henry's daughter is currently in the NICU in Fort Lauderdale, where Henry and her husband need to stay for several more weeks. Julia's mother says the costs and the stress are mounting.
Medical bills are piling up, and it's not just the medical bills. There's bills for everything. There's accommodation, there's transportation, there's the rental car, there's food.
She believes the family might not be in this situation if WestJet got them home sooner. WestJet has not responded to CTV News' request for comment on the allegations.
What we see here is WestJet flagrantly disregarding the law, misleading the passengers about those flights not being available. And unfortunately, in this specific case, the passengers are suffering the consequences.
Henry says she still wants answers from WestJet about why she couldn't get home sooner.
We're not going home as of yet. And it's caused a lot of stress.
Alex Carper, CTV News, Winnipeg.
All right, Jeff, it's going to get nicer.
It's going to get nicer. president's not going to be happy about that situation either. There you go. Yeah, but weather-wise, we have got ourselves a situation where the rain is definitely coming. It's a question of where it's going to show up and how much is going to fall, because this is a spotty situation. It's not a widespread rain event. So right now, Saskatoon, 16 degrees, 18 in Prince Albert, 19 in the Battlefords, a little bit of rain showers, a little bit of rain falling in the Prince Albert area. Not really windy in Saskatoon and Prince Albert, a little breezier, but not by much in the Battlefords. So it's, you know, it's simply the way things have shaped up today. It's been an interesting sort of up and down day in that respect. 23 degrees for a daytime high, 2 degrees below the seasonal average. So yes, staying below seasonal, but the good news is we are going to be getting warmer. 36 is the record warm temperature from George Orwell, 1908, 0 degrees. That happened. That happens to be the long-standing record that still stands. And the sun is going to go down at 8:35.
Coming up, a New Zealander has wrapped up his epic journey canoeing across a massive stretch of Canada from Alberta to Quebec.
Rocky debate continues. Friday on Your Morning, Saskatoon Mayor Cynthia Block on the city's public art budget and the prospect of a downtown arena referendum.
I thought for a second he was talking about, you know, a Stallone movie. And he goes, what's the debate? Anyhow, we've got ourselves a little bit of cloud right now, some sun breaking through the cloud deck. We had a thunderstorm roll through Saskatoon around 4 o'clock, and that storm system has slowly moved out of the area. So, yes, some Spielbergian light there. Right now, keeping our eye on a couple of different systems. It's a very large sort of area of active weather, but we sort of have some pop-up showers. But really, these are the two areas of greatest concern. This system likely to track in a northeasterly fashion through Saskatchewan, the same sort of direction, but impacting southeastern Saskatchewan as we make our way into the overnight and tomorrow morning. Let's take a look at our numbers just to recap. 16 degrees in Saskatoon, 18 with showers in Prince Albert, and 19 and sunny in the Battlefords. The hotspot, Yellowgrass, for a second day in a row. They are the provincial hotspot. Yesterday at 24, today at 23. Stony Rapids is a cold spot at just 3 degrees. Around the province we go. 17 degrees in Lloydminster, 19 in Swift Current, 22 in Moose Jaw, 23 in Regina, 21 in Yorkton and Estevan. Into central Saskatchewan, temperatures ranging from 14 degrees in a couple of locations, that's Kindersley and Spiritwood, up to 22 in Melfort and Watrous. A lot of places in the mid to high teens, making our way up north. A similar temperature pattern, temperatures in the high teens, low 20s. And as we make our way down south, we've got ourselves cooler temperatures on the western side of the province where we've had some rain. As we make our way eastward, we get into the low 20s from most locations. Right now, 22 is the warmest spot in this part of our map, and that is in Weyburn. Okay, now we'll take a look at our future cast. So this is what I was talking about. You can certainly see some really interesting images there as we make our way to southeastern Saskatchewan. There's no watches or warnings for those parts of the province yet, but we might have that change as we go through the evening hours. And of course, you can see that area of active weather sliding up through Saskatchewan. So into Alberta, where there are some tornado watches in effect for areas to the, I'll say the west of Lloydminster and Meadow Lake areas. That is sort of Vermilion, Bonneville, those kind of places. And then those areas in green in southern Alberta, 30 to 60 millimeters of rain is expected, and some of that rain is coming our way. So a mix of sky conditions for northern Saskatchewan. Temperatures in the high teens, low 20s. Temperatures in and around 17 degrees for west central Saskatchewan, with rain of some sort expected throughout the region. And that is true of some parts of the southwest. Leader and Outlook expecting some showers, just cloudy conditions for Maple Creek and Swift Current, but temperatures around 18 or 19 degrees. A similar temperature pattern for the most part in southeastern Saskatchewan, but a bit more in the way of rainfall expected, especially in Yorkton and Estevan. And Melfort also expecting a reasonable amount of rain, maybe less than 5 millimeters, let's say, but then some showers expected in Watrous, Humboldt, and Hudson Bay. The Battleford's dropping down to 11 degrees tonight, 2 to 4 millimeters of rain by tomorrow. We're looking at 18 degrees for a high, but warming up to 26 by Sunday, but then cooling off a bit, but bouncing back to above seasonal temperatures, or seasonal, I should say, by Thursday. For Prince Albert, an overnight temperature of 12 degrees. Tomorrow's high just 16. It's not very sweet, that's for sure. 2 to 4 millimeters of rain on Friday. Saturday 22, Sunday 24, 18 to start the work week, but then warming up to 25 by Thursday. And Saskatoon's overnight temperature temperature 13 degrees, winds out of the east at 15, a risk of a thunderstorm, showers changing tomorrow to substantial rain overnight, and then rain tomorrow, but just adding up to about 3 millimeters of rain when all is said and done. 22 on Saturday, Sunday, sunny and 26, ooh la la, and then blackjack, 21 degrees on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, above seasonal temperatures, 26 degrees. Jake Vaudeland and the Sturgeon River Boys is one of the acts performing at the Northern Lights Bluegrass Festival. That's Friday through Sunday at the Ness Creek Festival site near Big River. Friday night, American metalcore band Kill Switch Engage is live on stage at TCU Place. The music starts at 7. Sloan is one of the bands set to play on Friday at Rotary Park as Rock the River kicks off for another year. Some of the other bands playing this weekend include Collective Soul, the Northern Pikes, Colin James, and Starship. This cornucopia of classic rock continues until Sunday.
Fences are failing all over the park.
Jurassic Park is the latest drunken cinema offering at the Broadway Theatre. That's Saturday night, 8 o'clock for this 19-plus interactive event. Saturday night, Gunshine will be rocking out at the Capitol Music Club. Thursday, August 20th, the Capitol welcomes Barney Bentel and the Legendary Hearts.
There are 2 major storms advancing towards the Normandy coast, even as we speak.
Our men are ready. Get them onto the beaches somehow, anyhow. With waves of 10 feet, we won't be landing anywhere.
Here's something different. A weatherman war movie. Pressure chronicles the behind-the-scenes disputes over the weather forecast, which played a decisive role in D-Day. Pressure opens at the Roxy on Saturday. Tenacious is the clever title of the 306 Elite Dance Company's 10th anniversary show. You can catch it at the Broadway Theatre on August 21st and 22nd.
All right, Jeff, a little birdie told me that someone saw the partial solar eclipse yesterday.
They did, and they sent us a picture. We'll get to that in a second or two. We're going to start off with this one, though, because that's good grass. That's right. Candace sent us this. This was taken on August 8th. Candace writes, elk munching on some grass right outside of the Waskesiu River Trail. Grass. Yeah. Carrie sent us this one, and this is what you're talking about. You can see, I think that elk took a little bite out of the sun or the moon. There you go. Carrie sent us this photo of the partial eclipse. She also sent us a time-lapse video taken by her 14-year-old son, Cameron, who used his C-Star telescope. We couldn't use the video, but Cameron really did a nice job. And yes, his song choice was excellent, Carrie. And Peggy sends us this next picture. Yeah, Peggy tells us this is sunset at Spruce Home. And finally, from Wendy Paulson, whee! Oh my gosh. Wendy says, enjoying spending time with our grandchildren, Van and Lennox, at Marine Lake, or Marion Lake, depending on who you talk to. But look at the expressions. First of all, it's a great action shot, and the expressions on the 2 young people's faces, great, just fabulous.
That's great.
All righty, if you've got an action photo at the lake or something else, you can send that to us at cfqcnews@ctv.ca. And please shoot it on the horizontal, and please put pick of the day in the subject line.
Still to come on CTV News, a New Zealander's epic canoe trip across Canada. Zealander has wrapped up a canoe journey across a massive stretch of Canada from Alberta to Quebec. Tom Hudson set out to document his adventure about this country's wilderness, but as Genevieve Bushman reports, he found out so much more along the way.
Along a solo adventure through the Great White North. What a surreal moment. My first few paddles.
Tom Hudson discovered Canada's landscapes, but postcards of human nature shaped his travels.
Canadians, I tell you what, I freaking love you guys.
Hudson's journey began years before in New Zealand.
I worked in construction, I had a house, I had a mortgage, and one day I woke up with my alarm to go to work, and at that moment it just hit me very, very hard. You're not following your heart. Let's go. I sold everything. I sold my house, I gave all my things away.
And he found joy from the Rockies to the East Coast in the most Canadian way, paddling a canoe. You hadn't canoed before?
No, never canoed before in my life. I wanted to do something that I've never done, and then I wanted to do it in a big way.
The wilderness proved majestic but fierce. On the fourth day, he capsized.
Help me! My whole canoe went down the river. There was nothing I could do about it, and it was just me standing on the bank with nothing, just wet clothes.
And then he met Josh and his family camping nearby.
He's wet, he's cold. Yeah. Let's get him in a dry set of clothes.
And I thought I was going to showcase nature and the landscape and fishing, and but really what I showcased was how incredible the Canadian people are.
Hudson traveled 216 days over a couple of years, chronicling his journey on YouTube to finance his travels. He was running a little low on money, passing through Manitoba, thinking of pausing his journey when he came across Ivy, a 14-year-old lost dog stuck in the mud. He brought Ivy along and found her owner further along the river.
You silly old dog.
Now, that moment captured the hearts of many, drawing followers, and so saving Ivy saved his journey.
Everyone was standing along this wall.
On the 216th day, he paddled into Old Montreal, his destination. He was welcomed by followers, but also by some of the Canadians he'd met along the way. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
When we come back, the latest on the riders and top golf in boys golf compete in Regina.
Here's what's happening in our community. With support from SGI Canada, Wanuskewin Heritage Park is free to visit on Sundays in August. That's free admission and parking. Bidding opens August 16th in the Apothecare online silent auction. Every dollar raised goes directly towards the Apothecare Support Registry, helping families facing cancer. You can submit your community event by visiting our website and clicking on Community Calendar or scan the QR code on your screen.
Okay, let's take a look at the rural forecast for tomorrow. And yes, there's a fair amount of rain in the forecast, or at least a fair amount of locations that will be getting some rain. Let's take a look at Lloydminster and Kindersley, because according to our forecast, they're not going to be dealing with rain. The rain will come and go probably in the next less than 12 hours, if it happens at all. Meadow Lake, Spiritwood, Melfort, Watrous, Outlook. Yes, indeed, Hudson Bay, Wynyard, all these locations expecting some rain. Now, there might be a bit more intense rainfall in around Melfort. Other than that, we're looking at showers, and we're not expecting a lot of accumulation for many parts of central Saskatchewan, but the southeastern part of the province, it could be substantial, given that some parts of Alberta could see up to 60 millimeters of rain. Some of that rain is going to make its way into Saskatchewan, so we'll have to check the numbers tomorrow. St. Walburg is expecting rain tomorrow, 17 degrees, winds out of the northeast at 15, and St. Walburg is one of those places where internet plans of up to 1 gig are available from SaskTel.
The Riders signed an American receiver today.
Football, do you go to the same play? No, they'll go to the end zone. Looking for Owens, back corner. Caught for the touchdown.
Rashad Owens, a former Oklahoma State Cowboy who spent the first part of this season on the Stampeders practice roster. He also spent 2025 training camp in the NFL with the Bengals. In 5 college seasons as an Oklahoma State Cowboy, Owens had 120 receptions for over 1,700 yards and 10 touchdowns, including winning 2023 Texas Bowl MVP honors. The Saskatoon Berries are headed to the WCBL Championship Series thanks to a 5-run third inning last night against Moose Jaw.
And it's 3-2 for the Berries with Nathan Houston now up. He'll hit this one back up the middle, base hit. 1 run in. Rounding third and coming home is Nick Stinson.
Nathan Houston went 2 for 4, including that 2 RBI double that gave Saskatoon the lead. Nick Stinson drove in 3 runs as the Berries win 7-4 again, sweeping the Moose Jaw Miller Express. The win gives the Berries their first appearance in the WCBL final. Game 1 is Saturday in Sylvan Lake. Game 2 in Saskatoon goes Sunday. Much of the top talent in boys golf have made their way to Regina to compete in a high-profile tournament put on by Golf Canada.
Some of the best young golfers in Canada are getting into the swing of things at the Wascana Country Club, this year's host course of the Canadian Junior Boys Championship.
These kids have aspirations and dreams to play at a higher level, whether that's at college or, some sort of professional, and this is their starting point for doing that.
Ottawa's Chase Jerome is one of those athletes playing on the Regina course for the first time.
It's a pretty simple golf course. The greens are really good, so that's nice. The greens are really good and fast. I've seen greens like that before, but it's always fun to play on good greens.
Jerome has played the sport since he was 8 years old, discovering his talent at an early age.
Kind of young, I was just winning a lot of the local events and moved up to provincial, won there, and then just kind of all over Canada and U.S.
At 17 years of age, Jerome is one of the youngest golfers in the field, an experience he hopes to use down the road.
When you're young, you kind of want to play as much as you can and get just kind of reps in tournaments and understanding what it's like to play in tournaments and how it's different than a regular round.
For the Wascana Country Club, it's their first time hosting a national tournament since 2018. That tournament was a historic one where Canadian golfer Brooke Henderson won the CP Women's Open, being the first Canadian to win on home soil since 1973.
Brooke Henderson finished the game right over here. I was standing at the 150-yard line with my husband and one of the other co-chairs, and it was a big deal. It was a big deal to have a Canadian win here in Regina.
Of the 156 athletes competing, 12 of them are from Saskatchewan, and several are expected to make the weekend cut, including Swift Current's Maddie Schmeis at 1 over par. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Coming up, we meet a robot designed to tumble. Then a new high-altitude animal park opens in China.
Select Hair Services brought to you by Sage, the beauty bar.
Get comfortable and settle in with these top shows all right here on CTV. Well, anyone with feed red pandas on their bucket list can fly to China. A new high-altitude animal park has opened in the city of Chongqing. The new park sits 1,300 meters above sea level and is open to visitors free of charge. You can get up close to miniature horses, capybaras, alpacas, goats, and even feed some of the animals.
Oh, my.
There you go. There's one lounging.
There you go. Red panda.
Okay, you like robots, Jeff?
Love them.
Well,
I've got insurance, too.
This robot was built to take a tumble. The tri-bar is made of 3 rods and a bunch of elastic cables. It can move along ice, grass, sand, hills, and stairs. Okay, so how does a crawling robot made up of 3 sticks, why is that useful?
I don't know why.
Well, it aims to help in the construction of future robots from recovering from hard falls because it senses the surroundings and can readjust, so it'll help the future robots. So there you go.
It just looked like it was a really cool toy from Whammo.
Yeah, it does.
Whammo, still a reference.
I don't know, Jeff. I just go with it. I say, yeah.
Okay, here we go. Whammo, it's the forecast. We're expecting rain to taper off in the afternoon, but are expecting some rain overnight into tomorrow.
I want the sun.
Well,
sorry about that.
I was going to say something else, but there you go.
Good night.